What's going on, guys and gals? Daylight savings time has borked my sunlight. I don't like it. So now we go to work in the dark, we come home in the dark, and you go for a ride at noon and it looks like this mess. Why? Just why? Since fall is definitely here now and winter will shortly be upon us, I've got some shop projects to do, one of which including a rat bike. Now, plans for this one, I'm not gonna make like a serious rusted out rat trap, but she's definitely not gonna be a full resto, and it's not gonna be real pretty. Here she is. Little rundown on the bike. When I got it, it already had a name, and I think it's very fitting for how the project's gonna go, so I'm gonna keep the name Rat Trap. So the plans for this girl is we're gonna get her put back together, running at least somewhat appropriately. It's not gonna be meant for any like long haul road trips or anything, just something to kind of bop around the back streets on. She's an old drum brake setup, so you know, it's not real high performance, one front disc, and she needs a lot of work before it's time to even hit pavement. So in the meantime, we'll be doing some projects to get her up and rolling. The first one I've already kind of missed out on, because I'll admit I'm really bad at remembering to set up a camera and record stuff while I'm doing things in the shop. I tend to get started on a project and get it done, and then like, hey, that would have probably made a cool video. Somebody might be looking for how to do that. On future projects, I will try to record them for anyone who also might be working on one of these bikes and maybe need a little help or whatever. So the first one was the carbs were pretty bad. Like when I got it, the right side carb would overflow like almost immediately. It would overflow to the point that the left carb wasn't even getting gas. So when it did run, it was running on one cylinder like 99% of the time. After a carb kit and figuring out that the needle seat had been, I don't know, I'm not real sure what it had been cut with, but the height was wrong and the angle was wrong, and there's not really any adjustment on those. I mean, there is to a point, but like the needle seat is a press-in and it had plastic floats. There's not a lot of tweaking that to get it just where you want it. So I ended up pulling those out, which was an ordeal. I threaded the bore that the needle goes into so that a fine threaded bolt could fit into it, and I used that bolt to pull the seat out. Because these are old carbs, they did not use an O-ring seal, so they're not easy to remove. They strictly just pressed in. Also couldn't find these needle seats anywhere, but I had an old set of Keyhen carburetors off of a Ninja 250 of all things. My first bike, rest in pieces. Now, the carburetors I had were off of a basket case, so don't think that the little baby Ninja died a horrible death or anything. I actually ended up selling it to somebody in northern Arkansas. I'm not sure if they still have it or not. Probably not, it's been a long time. But anyway, I had a parts bike from that, so I had a spare dual carburetor and just happened to have the same exact press-in needle seats in it. And then when it came time to install those, I actually installed them with the needle in the seat and the float attached to the needle. That way I could set my float height. And I slowly pressed them in until the float height was about right. And then assembled and tested, did a little bit of tweaking here and there, and got it to where they hold gas now. The bike also does not have a functioning gas tank right now. So in order for it to run, I have a little canister off of a vacuum setup that just happens to fit the fuel line, and I fill it up with gas, let it fill the carburetors, and with it sitting there with gas in it sitting on the line, just gravity, it will eventually weep, and the left hand carb now will actually dribble just a little bit. It's not horrible, it's not a hard overflow, it's not pouring gas into the cylinder, it just dribbles out of the overflow. So I got that figured out and got everything kind of pieced back together. got the carbs on the bike, checked everything out before even trying to start the thing. And surprisingly enough, as far as I know, this motor has never been taken apart or anything. Did a compression check on it and got 115 pounds of compression on both cylinders, which is awesome because it's been sitting open for like 7 years. Filled the carburetor's up full of gas, put some new plugs in it, turned it over, and she fired. And like I said, I forgot to do videos of like any of this process, so the only video I've got is one that I just recorded on my phone out of sure, why not, to make a video and see if it starts. And it started, so that kind of lit the fuse on the rest of the project for that thing. And like right now, it's kind of torn apart, waiting on parts to come in. We've got to do a set of rear drums. As you can imagine, they are disintegrated. They're old factory riveted drum brakes, and the rivets have gotten through the material. Luckily, the drum in the rear wheel is not really chewed up or anything, and I've measured it and it's well inside of its operating tolerance, so we'll be able to resurface that, get some new brake shoes in there. We'll get the drum mechanism all cleaned up. And as those projects come across, I'll toss up a video here and there. I don't figure any of them will be very long because I'm going to cut out, you know, any of the real mundane junk. If you need a video to show you how to scrub dirt off of something, I might not be the right channel to watch. But as far as showing everything coming apart, going back together, I'll try to do my best on that. And you guys can follow along on the build. We'll get it all put back together, and hopefully by springtime, or maybe even before then, hopefully before then, we'll get that thing running, moving, stopping. Might even go out and do a little motovlog, even if it's, you know, 20 degrees outside. It'll just be a really short one. This beast, by the way, is doing fantastic with the new chain and sprockets on there. It's amazing how a worn chain and sprocket set can cause like little things that you really don't think about, but having a nice new fresh tight setup on here, it took away a bunch of weird little ticks that the bike had. Not ticks like noise, but just little quirks. You know, you feel a little slack here and there that's not there anymore. Stuff like that. Pretty neat. Also, it's a whole lot quieter to roll around the shop now. It doesn't sound like a roller coaster chain. If you guys noticed, on the thumbnails for each video, there's a border. Blue is like a motovlog. I'm gonna run around, talk about random stuff. You know, maybe spill some knowledge, maybe not. Green is gonna be like shop-oriented stuff, like how to do stuff, or you know, just recording a project I'm working on. And then red is gonna be like a product-oriented thing, like the GoPro videos are red border, and that, you know, that'll kind of clue you guys in. Just want to give you guys a little channel update, let you know what's coming down the pipe, because the weather be changing, and motovlogs are not necessarily friendly on really cold days. So, as always guys, stay safe, stay sane, we'll catch you next time. Peace.